Are you the mechanic they left to work on my car?
Yes, ma'am.
You look tired. Tell me what the problem is. I want to understand what I'm paying for.
So, the issue is right here with the alternator.
The alternator? Is that expensive to fix?
Not too bad. We can replace it.
Okay, good. What's your name?
Daniel Mercer.
Mercer? You sent a proposal to my company 2 years ago for a vehicle suspension system. This car is incredible. What is it?
It's a McLaren 720S, a true work of art.
It's stunning. Can I see more?
Of course, let me show you.
I want to offer you the position of head of automotive engineering at my company.
Wow, thank you. I'm in.
Billionaire CEO dared the broke mechanic. Fix my $2 million engine by morning and I'll give you everything. He had no idea she was watching every move. The garage smelled like motor oil and broken dreams. Daniel Mercer wiped his hands on a grease-stained cloth and stared at the silver McLaren Solus GT parked under the fluorescent lights of Pinnacle Auto, the most exclusive private garage in Austin, Texas. It was 11:47 p.m. His shift ended at midnight. His daughter's school tuition was due in 3 days, and the transmission job on Bay 4 was still only halfway done. He was exhausted, but quitting was never an option. Not since Sarah died, not since he became the only thing standing between his 7-year-old Lily and the cold indifference of a world that didn't care about single fathers with calloused hands and empty wallets. Mercer! His supervisor Greg snapped his name like a rubber band. Mr. Harrington just called. His McLaren needs a full engine diagnostic and tune-up before 7 a.m. You're the only one certified for the Solus GT system. You're staying. Daniel looked up slowly. Greg, I've been here since 6 this morning, and you'll be here until it's done. Greg shrugged, already walking away. Or you can clock out and find work somewhere else. Daniel said nothing. He turned back to the car. He had Lily to feed. It was just past midnight when the garage door opened again. He assumed it was Greg coming back to hover. Instead, he heard heels. Sharp, deliberate, expensive heels clicking against polished concrete. He straightened up from under the hood and turned around. She was stunning in a way that felt almost unfair. Long auburn hair cascading over her shoulders. Blue eyes sharp and assessing. Wearing a pink floral wrap dress that somehow looked completely at home in a garage full of million-dollar machines. She held a black clutch under one arm and looked at the McLaren like she owned the room it was parked in. Because she did. Victoria Harrington, CEO of Harrington Industries, Forbes Top 50, the woman who'd built a $2 billion tech empire before the age of 38. The woman who never showed up anywhere without a reason. Daniel had seen her once, from a distance, at a company event 2 years ago. He never expected to see her standing 5 feet away from him at midnight, smelling like expensive perfume and quiet power. "You're the mechanic they left with my car?" she asked. Not rudely, just directly. "Yes, ma'am." She tilted her head slightly, studying him the way people study things they're trying to figure out. "You look tired." "I'm fine." "I didn't ask if you were fine. I said you look tired." She set her clutch down on the tool bench beside her and walked toward the open hood. "What's wrong with it?" Daniel blinked. "You want the technical breakdown?" "I want to understand what I'm paying for." She leaned forward over the engine, her hair falling to one side, both palms resting flat on the car's frame. She studied the components with an expression that surprised him, not pretending, not performing, actually looking. "The throttle body's partially seized," Daniel said, carefully watching her. "Fuel delivery is inconsistent above 4,000 revolutions per minute. There's also a knock coming from cylinder 3 that I haven't fully diagnosed yet. Could be a rod bearing starting to wear." She nodded slowly without looking up. "How long have you been doing this?" 14 years. You like it?" The question caught him off guard. Nobody asked him that. "Yeah," he said quietly. "Yeah, I do." Victoria stood back up and looked at him directly. "What's your name?" "Daniel Mercer." Something shifted in her expression, just slightly. "Mercer, you submitted a proposal 2 years ago to my R&D division about adaptive suspension systems for high-performance vehicles." Daniel went completely still. She remembered. "It was rejected," he said flatly. "I know. I rejected it." She held his gaze without flinching. "I shouldn't have. I read it again last month. The engineering was sound. Better than sound, actually. My team missed it." The silence between them stretched long and strange. "Why are you telling me this at midnight in a garage?" Daniel asked. Victoria almost smiled. "Because I believe in saying things directly when I should have said them sooner." She glanced back at the engine. "Fix the car, Mr. Mercer, and when you're done, I'd like to talk to you about something." He worked through the night. She stayed, not hovering, not demanding. She sat on a stool in the corner with her laptop, working quietly, occasionally asking questions that showed she actually understood what he was doing. He explained each step without being asked. She listened without interrupting. By 3 a.m., the conversation had drifted away from the car entirely. She told him about her father, a machinist from Ohio who worked nights so she could go to engineering school. He told her about Sarah, pancreatic cancer, 18 months from diagnosis to the end, leaving behind a daughter who still slept with her mother's sweater. Lily, Victoria said softly. How old? 7. She wants to be a marine biologist. Daniel smiled at the engine. She made me watch a documentary about octopuses 4 times last week. 4 times. Victoria laughed, a real laugh, surprised out of her. She sounds remarkable, she said. She's the best thing I've ever done, he said simply. At 5:52 a.m., the McLaren's engine turned over clean and perfect. Daniel stepped back, listening to it idle, smooth, even, powerful. He exhaled slowly. Done. Victoria was already standing beside him. It sounds beautiful, she said. She'll run better than new. He wiped his hands on a clean cloth. You should have it rechecked in 6 months. Whoever tunes it next should know the cylinder 3 bearing was borderline. I replaced it, but it was close. There won't be a whoever, Victoria said. He looked at her. I want to offer you a position, she said. Head of Automotive Engineering at Harrington Industries. We're building a new EV performance division, and I need someone who actually understands these machines. Not just on paper, in their hands. She paused. I also want to properly license that suspension proposal, with full credit and compensation. Daniel stared at her. You don't have to answer right now, she said quickly. I know it's a lot coming from a stranger at 6 in the morning. Why me? He asked. There are hundreds of engineers who... Because in 14 years of running this company, Victoria interrupted quietly, I have never once seen someone work the way you worked tonight. Not because anyone was watching, not for recognition, just because the job deserved to be done right. She looked at him steadily. That's not common, Mr. Mercer. That's actually extraordinarily rare. The garage was filling with pale morning light coming through the high windows. The silver McLaren gleamed like something from a dream. Daniel thought about Lily's tuition, about the proposal he'd spent 8 months writing that got a form rejection in 2 weeks, about 14 years of working through the night while the world moved on without him. He thought about Sarah, who always said, The right door's open, Danny. You just have to still be standing there when they do. He cleared his throat. I'd need a schedule that works around my daughter, he said. Non-negotiable. Already assumed, Victoria said. And I want my name on the suspension patent, not a footnote, the actual patent. Done. And I want to meet your full engineering team before I commit. If they're not serious people, I'm not interested regardless of the salary. Victoria's expression was something he couldn't quite name, respect maybe, and something warmer underneath it. Thursday morning, she said, 9 a.m. I'll have the whole team there. Daniel nodded once, extended his hand. She shook it firmly, no hesitation. Deal, he said. 3 weeks later, Daniel Mercer walked into Harrington Industries for his first day as head of automotive engineering. Lily made him a card that morning. On the front, she'd drawn a car with flames coming out of it and a stick figure in a suit standing beside it. Inside, she wrote, Dad, you are the best fixer in the world. Also, can we watch the octopus movie again tonight? He kept it in his chest pocket all day. 6 months later, the Harrington Mercer adaptive suspension system was featured in Motor Trend, Wired, and on the front page of the Wall Street Journal's tech section. The article described it as a fundamental reimagining of high-performance vehicle dynamics, the work of a former garage mechanic who'd spent 14 years perfecting an idea that the industry had been too distracted to notice. Daniel read it at his kitchen table while Lily ate cereal across from him and narrated, with complete seriousness, everything she'd learned that week about deep-sea creatures. His phone buzzed with a message from Victoria. Told you the right people would see it. Dinner tonight to celebrate? I know a place. No dress code. Lily can come. He smiled at his phone for a long moment. Then he typed back, She'll talk about octopuses, the entire meal. Victoria's reply came in 3 seconds. I've already looked some up. I'm ready. Daniel set the phone down and looked across the table at his daughter, this bright, ridiculous, extraordinary little person who had no idea that she was the reason he'd kept showing up, night after night, year after year, to a garage that smelled like motor oil and broken dreams. Until the morning it didn't. Until the morning everything changed because he'd stayed. Because the job deserved to be done right. Because some doors open exactly when they're supposed to. You just have to still be standing there,